It's been a while for Dr. No Days Off. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the Dr. No Days Off show, right? We're here today, and we're going to talk about something that is very, very dear to me, very important to me. It's very important to success. It should be very important to you. So, what we're going to talk about today is dominate my mind. You know, what does that actually look like? What does it actually look like to dominate your mind? And ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you right now, we are on the Wisdom app right now, live on the Wisdom app. So if you want to join us on the Wisdom app right now, you can. And this is actually being recorded to be put on my YouTube channel. So definitely you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you want to, subscribe to Dr. No Days Off and in social media, in the social media platforms and world. But ladies and gentlemen, you know me. If you know anything about Dr. No Days Off, I don't hesitate. I move forward. I'm always moving forward. I never stop, because if you move casually, then you become a casualty, right? So you always got to move with purpose. And one of the things that we are going to discuss more in detail is about the mind. So, but before I do, let me bring on a gentleman that I haven't spoke to in a while. Let's see what what Dr. Robert has to say today. I'm gonna bring him on the stage here. Let's see what Dr. Robert has to say today. Um, Before we get started into our subject, hey, Dr. Robert, how you doing?
Oh, great. Moving forward is just what I did. Had a wrote a book. I've been on Big TV, and I'm just really going forward in what it is that I am doing. And this app is inspiring on doing things. The name of the book is Unaware of Your Awareness. It's on Amazon, pre-sale, and I'm just updating my website, and just really just going forward, and I said you came up, and I said, wow, say that you just said I haven't seen this man in a while.
Yeah, Dr. No Days Off has been working, man. Take a day off, right? I've been busy. I've been having a couple of projects I had to finish up on. But congratulations on your book. I remember because last time we talked, you didn't have a book out just yet. So congratulations on that. You're the actual second person I know in my time of being away have actually came out with their book. So that's pretty amazing. That's pretty powerful. And much success to you on your journey. What's the name of your book again?
Unaware of Your Awareness.
I like that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's on Amazon. I'll be done with it in a month or two here. And I'm also putting it on audio.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Yeah, that's something that I probably want to move forward in that space more than an actual written book. A lot of people have been requesting me to write a book for years now, and I've always turned them down. I've never written a book yet, and I always let people know I'm the living book, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, when all the dust is settled and smoke and clear, Dr. No Days Off will, they'll have a book from me. So. But Dr. Robert, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on board real quick, and nice hearing from you again. We never have really saw each other, but nice hearing from you again. Appreciate that. Please stay tuned. Stay tuned in, okay? What I'm going to talk about is probably going to be right in line with what your book is about, because I love that title. So I'm aware of your awareness. I like that, and it means a lot. So thanks, Dr. Robert. I appreciate you.
Okay, the subtitle is How I Overcame Dyslexia.
There you go. See, that's amazing right there. And I appreciate that. So, all right, Doc.
All right, Doc, with you in a bit.
All right, Doc. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, man, that's just amazing. Like I said, I haven't seen that gentleman in a while. And I haven't seen him, but I haven't heard from him in a while because I've been working on some projects and things of that nature. And of course, we always got Mrs. Dr. No Days Off here on the show. She always is on the show. I don't know because she actually says she's not camera ready right now, so she don't want to be in the actual recording. But you might hear from Mrs. Dr. No Days Off coming on the stage here. But ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what I talked about earlier. Dominate my mind. What does this actually look like? Listen, there's a lot of people out here that actually go after a lot of different things. There's a lot of options, right? So, you have a thought process. And many of you have probably heard the concept thoughts of things that, what you think about, you bring about. And it's all true. It's all true. It's the law of attraction. It's the power of the secret, right? And many of us, because we're impatient, we don't really adhere to and really live the secret. The power of thoughts. How to dominate your mind. One of the things that I'm gonna be honest with you that I love about me. This is not me being conceited. This is actually me being aware, like Dr. Robert said. This is actually me being aware of me. Is I love the fact that I have a very dominating mind, that I control my thoughts. I control me. I do not allow anything or anybody else to control me. I don't care who they are. I got the love of my life, Mrs. Dr. No Days Off, and she doesn't control me. She doesn't control my thinking. I think the way I think because that is me. And I don't attempt to control her either. And then one of the things that I learned quick is you cannot control anybody else's thinking. You're going to control yours. So that's one of the things I love about me is I'm able to control my own thinking. Now, I'm not easily swayed in my thinking. Just out here in the world today, you got people, like for instance, and this is no pun, no stick at anybody, but this is just Dr. No Days Off thinking. I don't have to have 1,000 followers. I don't have to have 1,000 friends or a million friends or a million followers for me to feel like I'm relevant in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm relevant in my life because I say I'm relevant in my life, right? It is so amazing how we allow the platforms that are out here today, the social media, and the people and how they think and how they act today, we allow them to dictate our mindset. We allow them to dictate how we think, and what we think about ourselves. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that's what leads you down, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor of mental health. I am a doctor of executive leadership. And I will tell you, leadership is a mindset. Leadership is a mentality. And I will tell you, that is why we cannot self-lead a lot. A lot of us cannot self-lead because we don't dominate the thoughts of our mind. We don't dominate our mind. Look, if your object is to want money, if that's your object and you want money, then you got to become so determined to have it and convince yourself that you will that you will have it. See, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand, you're a person, and you listen. I'm gonna say it like this. Because I don't want you to get confused, right? Because Dr. No Days Off can get very passionate about Dr. No Days Off can get very passionate about about his subjects, and especially a subject like this. Listen, a person without a savings account is usually a person of little account. And when I'm talking about savings account, I'm not talking about a financial savings account. And it can relate to that too, right? But I'm talking about a person that has a mental savings account. What are you compiling inside of your mentality? What thought processes do you have? And it's amazing to me that a lot of people out here do not have thought processes. They don't have a savings account of positive mental thought processes, right? So they don't have a PMA, which is what I call a positive mental attitude. And then people always ask me, well, Dr. No Days Off, how do you create a positive mental attitude? Well, you create a positive mental attitude by developing a savings account of positive mental thoughts. You're saving those up, right? You're using those, right? It is to be, and what's a savings account for? A savings account is to be used in the case of emergencies. A savings account is to be used because you want to save for retirement later on in life or whatever the case may be. So it's something to use over time, right? So if you don't have a PMA, then how what's dominating your mind, right? Because it is true. You become what you think about the most. People say, "Oh no, 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 no! I don't think like that." Or no, it's not true. Yes, it is true. You become what you think about the most, right? Look, the universe follows the quantity and the quality of success, right? And if you want to achieve, right, anything in your life, your achievement is going to be in direct proportion to the size of your thoughts, right? I learned years ago, before I became Dr. No Days Off, I learned years ago that, why are you thinking small? Because you're wasting your time if you think small. Why, if you're going to think, then why not think big? Because thinking small, you're just wasting your time. But see, I learned over the years that thinking small allows you to actually trick yourself, right? Thinking small allows you to actually fool yourself into believing that you've done something. See, the reason why you are afraid to think big is because you feel like if you fail, then what's going to happen is, people are going to laugh at you. People are going to say stuff about you. People are going to do things, or say stuff about you, do things to you, things like that. Listen, failure is only failure when you recognize it as such. See, so that's why you think small. So you don't think big because thinking big requires a great deal of work. Thinking big requires the domination of your mind. Thinking big requires for you to expend some PMA, right? I have a guest that want to come on stage, and I'm giving you a couple minutes. So you got a question for Dr. No Days Off? His name is Howard. So Howard, let's see. What questions do you have for Dr. No Days Off so far?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, first of all, how much overtime you got built up? You have no days.
I got a lot of overtime built up, trust me. It carries over every year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And I appreciate everything that you're saying. And one of the things that I've learned in what seems like a lifetime doing this is that so many people are so subconscious to the idea. They're not aware of the programming of their mind. And so
exactly.
Just doing the work that you're doing to let them know, to monitor their thoughts and to make sure they're building up that bank account in how they think and feel about themselves, because how you think and feel about who you are is not something, it's everything. Because every thought, reaction, perception, choice, decision, everything you do is going to be a function of how you believe in who you are. And so I think that's the real goal is to really dig in on self-awareness and to make sure that you are building that code to match what you really say that you want in the world.
Exactly. How you hit the nail right on the head right there. That self-awareness. I talk about it all the time. I talk about that self-leadership. For years I've been studying leadership for decades, and one of the things that I've learned is, I'm looking at good. I'm looking at what the world recognizes as good leadership, the world recognizes as bad leadership, and all this and atrocities and things like that. I look at the actual leader themselves, and I break it down, just like a surgeon does. And one of the things I've learned is all of the great leaders, whether people think they're good or bad, all of the great leaders, one of the key elements that they all had to build a foundation on is that self-leadership. They were able to lead themselves first before they were able to go out and create this great leadership platform that they did. So yeah, you're absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, well, I'm thrilled that you're doing this kind of work. It is so needed, and especially to empower those that feel de-empowered in this world, either by circumstance, by systems, by political wins, whatever it is that is making people feel oppressed. The whole secret key to this is empowering your mind and really understanding that through an authentic understanding of your birthright to greatness,
You know, I love. I'm going to cut you off, Howard, but I love
Yeah,
how you use that word authentic. Oh my gosh, I've been talking about that word for the last 2 weeks now, and what it truly means to people. And I got another guest who want to come on board here, but Howard, I want to thank you because that word authentic means a lot to me because a lot of people do not have they're not as authentic as they think they are. You know,
You gotta authentically challenge the beliefs and replace them.
exactly. Well, thank you, Howard. I appreciate you, man. All right, take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the infamous and the beautiful, the talented, and of course, the love of my life. This is Dr. No Days Off. She's come on board. I know she's going to have something to say about this domination of your mind. But go ahead, sweetheart. What do you have to say?
Wow, this is such a great topic because what you think about is what you bring about, and a lot of us are not really taught that growing up, and that's what allows us to struggle when we get out of our own and we get misdirected, because like you said, there's the media, there's what's going on in the news, there's this, that going on, you have all these people of influence instead of us looking in the mirror. One of the songs I love is Mary J. Blige is Gorgeous song, and she states that she's not talking about the you ladies when after you get up, you put your makeup on, you put your nails on, you look like $1 million. She's talking about the you. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you should tell yourself, "Good morning, gorgeous." Self-leadership is everything, because if without that, you don't appreciate leadership, because leadership is not a right, it's a privilege. Anybody can put a title on, anybody can put some rank on, anybody can have a label, status, or whatever. But if you need that to define you, you're not a leader. You're just a person in a position. I always tell people, you want to find out how great of a leader you are? Take your title off and see if anybody follows you. If you're the only one following you, then guess what? You might need to go back to the drawing board. A person that self-leads understands that they are creating the best version of themselves every single second of the day. Leadership is the power of leadership is everybody you come in contact with. If you're a leader at your job, or you're in a position of influence, everybody that you come in contact with is like an infant baby. And what I mean by that is, if you nurture them, if you teach them, if you train them, if you develop them, if you put everything into them, you find out what their dreams are, you find out what their goals are, you find out what motivates them. A lot of times they grow to be a very productive adult. But if you don't pour anything into them, then they don't. So self-leadership is important because a lot of times what you pour into yourself is what you're willing to pour into someone else. Having a dominant mindset also is an awareness, because everybody has different personalities, everybody has different characteristics, and as a leader, you know how to take a quiet, timid, passive person and make them shine just like an outgoing person, because you understand how to bring the best out of that person. You don't compare them. You find out what makes that person unique and what makes that person shine, and that's what you teach them to focus on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's enough people trying to produce these cookie cutter people. Telling you, as a woman, if you're not this height, this size, this weight, if you're not 60-some years old, looking like this celebrity, then you're not beautiful. Well, we all know a lot of celebrities have plastic work done, so they're not authentic. And I love what I don't remember what the gentleman's name is, but I love that word, authentic. Your word, your name, your character. I was raised. That's all you have in this world. People can take your money. They can take your materialistic things. But those are things that need to stand for something. You know, part of being a self-leader is understanding your strengths and your weaknesses and owning them and finding out how to work through those weaknesses in order to make yourself a better person. You know, but you have to have that dominant mindset. You know, a lot of times, especially as a woman, you know, when you have that strong, dominant personality and you're outspoken and you demand what you're due, you get all these nice, unpretty titles and stereotypes and names they want to call you, all because you worked hard for something and all you're saying is you're going to give me what I just do. You know, so having that dominant mindset means you don't accept excuses from yourself, so you don't accept excuses from someone else. You know, if you're a leader at your job or wherever you're at, you come to work early because you know if you're on time, you're late. You know, you go above and beyond what your job description says that you need to do because that's what you stand for. So when it comes to developing the people that are following you, you don't have a problem saying, hey, you know what? Let's take it up a notch. You know, so definitely Dr. No Days Off, you know, this is just a great title, you know, because we all know after COVID, people's mindsets were all messed up. And a lot of people realized they poured more into other people than themselves. And when you pour more into other people than yourself, you leave nothing to give yourself. So you have to pour into you first. You have to feed you first. You have to take care of you, nurture you, develop you. So you have the strength to nurture and teach and train and develop someone else. I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Indio.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And great words. Yeah, absolutely. You know, yeah, you know, you and I talk about it all the time. COVID did wake up a lot of people. COVID did let a lot of people know that they're not as authentic as they thought they were, that they were literally just doing everything they were doing for other people, you know. And so, you know, and that goes into my next thing. What I was going to say is, you know, if you allow your mind to be dominated by trivial matters, then everything you achieve is likely to be unimportant to your true passion and your true what I call DCA, my definite chief aim. And a lot of people just realize that, you know, when COVID hit, COVID brought the world to almost a stop, right? Because everybody, you know, we move so fast, we're always on the go, we're always doing this, we're always doing that. But what happened was when COVID hit, it allowed the world to slow down enough for everybody to realize, oh crap, I'm not really doing anything with myself. I'm not really doing anything with my life, right? And people looked at COVID like a negative thing. But you and I, you know, Mr. Dr. No Days Off, you and I always talk about it. We never looked at COVID like a negative thing. We loved it because it allowed us to reinvent ourselves. It gave us the time to catch up to a lot of things that was happening to us in our life and to actually come out about and give us time to create creative solutions, to come up with creative solutions to our problems and come up with creative solutions to reaching our goals. See, a lot of people didn't look at it like that. See, that's how Mrs. Dr. No Days Off, Dr. No Days Off and I looked at it like. It gave us an opportunity to do something big and better.
A lot of people didn't look at it like that because they had to come out behind that smoke screen, you know, for those that had kids and their kids' behavior or schoolwork or whatever wasn't the way the teacher says. And when the teacher would, you know, tell the parents, you know, they're like, oh, my child don't do that, whatever. Then when the parents had to be the teacher, a lot of the parents, I believe a lot of people in this world learn to have more appreciation and respect for teachers, for medical staff, you know, for people in positions and careers that a lot of us take for granted, you know, every day because, okay, you know what? They're there. Yeah, but like you said, Dr. Indio, it was business as usual. There are a lot of people that have relationship issues, and it's because they had to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, however many months with their significant other, and they got to see how they really are because there was no work distraction where you're over here for 8 hours, they're over there for 8 hours. Same with the kids. The kids go, they're at school, so there really wasn't a lot of, interaction. And for a lot of people, it was an awakening of their priorities. For those that put their jobs over their families when COVID happened, it helped them redirect their priority. Because when their jobs left them and when they weren't able to go, what was there? It was their family.
I wanted to, I don't want to get off topic that we're talking about, but I'm gonna go sideways here a little bit. One of the things that you and I always talked about, one of the things that when COVID hit and everything, and everybody was talking about the kids, and this to me is what really hurt society and organizations, is because they targeted, and I'm gonna say news media outlet and people who don't want people to achieve. You gotta understand, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of negativity out here. There are negative people that disguise themselves that don't want you to achieve or don't want a certain culture, a certain race, or a certain country to achieve. But they kept talking about how the kids were struggling learning online and how the kids were struggling learning at home. But what's so amazing to you and I was, we were like, wait a minute, these kids don't struggle because homeschooling has been around for how long now? Homeschooling was been around decades before COVID hit. And then you talk about online learning, these kids were struggling having to go to school online. They weren't struggling because see, you allowed them to do it as to us as parents. Now, we didn't have to have that problem because our kids had already graduated by that time. But anyway, we didn't have to have that problem because the way we looked at it was like, well, if our son, who would have been the one still in school, if we would have waited just 2 more years later to have him, then we would have had to deal with that. But our son, our kids understood and they knew that school was school. And if we say you get your butt in school and you learn, you get your butt in school and you learn. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I don't care if you have to learn over the phone. I don't care if you have to learn in person. I don't care if you have to learn just by reading a book, but you learn. But my point is, you and I both said it, that they get on they get on social media, they get on TikTok, and they can create a video with no problems, right? Twerking and doing whatever else they want to do. But when it comes to being on video in their class, they got a problem with it. And then other adults, or they want to say, well, my child is struggling learning in school. They're not used to sitting on a camera. And yes, they are used to being on the camera. Check their phone. I bet you they're used to being on the camera. Go ahead, Ms. Dr. Monet.
But again, it ties into a dominant mindset. With our kids, there was no negotiating. When they were in school during the summer, because I had a dominant mindset and no one was going to tell me how to educate my children.
Right.
I looked up the curriculum for next year, and during the summer, that's what they worked on. They had their playtime, but they also had their education time because I wanted them to understand when you become an adult, nobody feels sorry for you. That you're working a job, raising kids, and pursuing a degree. I mean, they look at it like, hey, you're an adult. That's what you want to do. Then you own the responsibility. So we raised our children in the land of reality. We don't accept excuses from ourselves, so we didn't accept excuses for them because we had a dominant mindset. So when a teacher tried to tell us about our son, well, I think he has ADHD, or whatever. I said, there's nothing wrong with him. You know why? Because if you sit him in front of an Xbox and put a video game on, I can guarantee you he can sit there for 12 hours and play that video game. So if he can sit there for 12 hours and play that video game, he can sit in your class for an hour and some change. There's nothing wrong with him. He wants to do what he thinks he wants to do. And as a parent, that's unacceptable, and that's not what we're going to do. Even when it came to our girls, it's like, look, You can figure out how to program your cell phone. You can figure out, how to TikTok, how to Facebook. You can figure out all these things that entail technology. Then you can Google how to help you with the math problem. So when you have that dominant mindset, what you do is you use it to teach solutions. Problems and challenges are always going to be there. I don't care who you are, who you think you are, it's always going to be there. There's even problems in nature. There's problems with the animal kingdom. Everybody has problems. But the ones of us that have a dominant mindset, we understand that there's always a solution. You just have to find it. Whether it's doing the research yourself, whether it's going into your network, but there's always a solution. And a solution doesn't always come today. It doesn't always come easy, but it will come if you put the work in. So a person with a dominant mindset understands that. They understand life has challenges, but with every challenge is a solution. With every solution you get, you are elevated. You are adding to that better version of yourself. When you wake up in the morning, you should be doing affirmations. You should be I like to put on my favorite song, and I sing to it, and to get my dominant mindset prepared for the chaos that I don't know that's about to come throughout the day, because it always does. Again, it's just part of life. So a dominant mindset, a person with that mindset understands that challenges and chaos is going to come. So the more positivity you put into your life, the more positivity you put into your head when you're having that challenging day, whether it's at work or whatever, instead of focusing on the negativity, you find something, whether it's looking at your baby's picture, looking at a grandchild's picture, looking at your dog's picture. Sometimes you can even look at a picture of yourself. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you got to look at a picture of yourself and say, oh, I look good that day. And it's just something that clicks you out of that negative mindset to let you understand, okay, this is not going to ruin the rest of my day. So, Dr. Indio, all these things are just examples on how having a dominant mindset is powerful, and it can either make you or break you.
Absolutely. And that goes into disciplining yourself, disciplining your mind. That's that PMA. That's that savings account that I was talking about earlier, right? You got to build up that savings account, of a PMA, positive mental attitude. So you got to discipline yourself to think about what's important, right? Think about the things that is going to help you carry on through your life. It is so amazing. When I'm coaching individuals or individuals are asking me for advice, I sit back and I listen to them, and I ask simple questions, and then I break out my notepad, or I break out my mental notepad, and I say, okay, well, what is it that you want to do? And you can see the light in their eyes, and I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, and they go on and on and on. And then I wait for it, and it never fails me. But I have these kids, but this, I don't have the money. Or if I didn't have this job, this and that and that. And I always put a little tick mark next to those comments, because you have the PMA. Then one of the things you do is you have programmed. Howard said it earlier. When said, you don't realize how much you've been programmed and conditioned to not go and succeed, and for what it is you're supposed to succeed for. I was talking to someone earlier, and they asked me something a couple months ago, right? They asked me something a couple months ago about a career, switching career. And I talked to him as Dr. No Days Off does. So I didn't say anything to him for a couple months on purpose, just to see where they stood. So today I reached out to him and I said, hey, how's it going towards that certain career you want? But I will say about this person, they responded and said, I'm not even going to lie to you. There's no excuse. I haven't moved one step. There's no reason why I haven't moved one step. I just haven't moved a step, right? So, and I said, okay, understandable. And then, you know, they were like, well, I got some time this weekend. I'm gonna start putting my plan together. I said, okay, no problem, you know. And I said, well, you want to focus on using at least 30 minutes a day, right? Focus on 30 minutes a day of going after your dreams and your goals, right? 30 minutes a day. And then what I also said was, you got to understand something that, you know, if you, right, I say start off with 30 minutes a day, every day, work on your passion or on your future, right? And you should be. If not, you will always be working in someone else's. You gotta understand something. If you're not working in your passion or not working for your future, never forget, since you're not working on yours, that means you're working in somebody else's. And you're setting them up for success, and you're not setting yourself up for success. And then I went on to say this causes misalignment with you, the universe, and your purpose. It doesn't cause misalignment with anybody else but you, the universe, and your purpose. So that's why you must discipline yourself to think about the important things. Discipline yourself to think about the things that really matter. What are your dreams and what are your goals? If you don't listen, if you're not talking about your dreams and goals every day, whether you're talking to them about to yourself, to your spouse, to your significant other, to your BFF, right? Then what it's not really a dream or a goal. It's just wishful thinking, right? And then if you got a BFF that said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of you talking about this," you know, and can we just talk about something else? Then you probably want to change your BFF. If your spouse is doing that to you, you're probably going to want to need to change your spouse too. But you know, Dr. Nodes often tell you that, okay? But my point is, now if your BFF says, "Oh my gosh, I'm sick and tired of you talking about this," when are you going to actually do something? Okay, you keep that BFF because now they're saying, "Listen, stop talking, start doing." Right? Spouse too, stop talking, start doing. Don't just talk about it, be about it. I'm sick of you just talking about it and you're not doing anything to be about it. That's the person you want to keep in your life. Not the person that just says to you, "Oh my gosh, stop talking about it because all you talk about is this, 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 this." I'm going to give y'all a fine example of it. When I was growing up, and people in my family, you go back and ask them, anybody that remembers me well will tell you, ask them one question. What did he want to do when he grew up? And they were like, "Oh my God, this boy, all he talked about was being a police officer, being in law enforcement, right?" They got so sick and tired of me. But they'll tell you, every time they turn around, look, ladies and gentlemen, you know, tell you how serious I was? I was reading a law dictionary just to learn anything I could about law at the time. I didn't have a lot of accesses to what I wanted to do, right? But I wasn't just talking about it. I was doing it, right? So you don't just talk about it. Just talking about it is nothing. See, I mean a lot of people talking. I met somebody a couple weeks ago talking about what it is they want to do. I've always wanted to open up a nonprofit. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do that. I need to just do it and just stop playing around. And the only thing stopping me is me. And I'm just listening to them. I'm saying, that's okay. Then once again, Dr. Nodes off. This is how I do it. I threw a nugget out there, golden nugget. I said, okay, I tell you what, since you want to open up a nonprofit, I know the perfect person you need to speak to. She runs a nonprofit. She just released her book. She has a heck of a story. And then when you're ready, I'm gonna introduce you to her. Just let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, if that person was serious, guess what? They would have told me right than that. Introduce me to them now. Or call me the next day, couple days, whatever the case may be. It's been weeks. Did I get a phone call? No. Am I going to get a phone call? No, I'm not. Right? And I only said it because I just it was a test. Because see, you can't say that to Dr. Nodes off. I'll be the first one to tell you. If you know what Dr. Nodes off goes on, my wife would be the first one to tell you. Mrs. Dr. Nodes off would be the one to tell you. Don't say you know a certain person and that person can help this man get to where he want to be. The first thing he's going to tell you, introduce me right here and now. Once you make the introduction, get out the way. He got it, right? Don't tell me you're going to introduce me to somebody that's going to help me improve my mindset. Somebody that's going to help me, improve my financial status. Somebody that's going to help me improve, my professional status. Because trust me, Dr. No Days Off does not waste opportunities, right? Because I've learned to discipline myself to think about the things that are important, right? I keep up what's going on in my field, right? I keep up what's going on in the world to a certain extent. I don't keep up with negativity, right? You cannot have a PMA, right? Negative and positive cannot. You hear Dr. No Days Off say this all the time. The one few times that you hear Dr. No Days Off say the word can't or cannot. Positive and negative cannot operate the same space and time. Okay, it's not possible. It's a scientific fact. One of them has to go. Okay, so in order for me to maintain my PMA, I don't deal with negativity of the world. And some people might say, well, I have to be informed. You can be informed, but you don't have to be informed with negativity, right? See, the way what it is, it's the old saying, you're being negative and you're being nosy, okay? Because it's none of your business, all right? There's a lot of things going on here in this world. There's a lot of things that is put on TV that I would not even think about watching. I would know back then when our kids was growing up, we would not let them. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop New York, I Love So and So. My kids could not even, that could not be on in my house because that was just nothing but negativity and drama, and it depicted a certain race and certain types of people financially or race or culture in a certain way, which is now why we have the issues we have still today. But don't let Dr. No Days Off get started on that. I'm going to digress from that and keep moving. But there were certain things that they couldn't watch. There were certain things that, I wouldn't let them watch it. Not only did we say that they couldn't watch it, we explained to them why we wouldn't let them watch it. So we just didn't say, no, you can't watch it. But there was a reason. Because it's conditions and programs your mind, because your mind is so young, you don't know how to revert that. See, I can watch, and I don't, but I can watch. And nothing against with these shows, what I'm saying. Hey, you do what you got to do. If that's your living, that's your living, okay? But Dr. No Days Off is not a fan. I'll be the first one to tell you. But Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, I could watch an episode of that, and it wouldn't faze me as far as messing with my mentality. Now, all it's going to do is irritate me for the 30 minutes or whatever long that it lasts. So I know, first off, Dr. No Days Off is not going to waste his time for 30 minutes watching something that's going to irritate the heck out of him, okay? Because it's just stupidity in my world. And I know it's entertainment to a large degree, but it's not my kind of entertainment. So I'm not a fan. I never will be a fan, okay? So anyways, but I'm not putting anybody down that is a fan. All right, hey, it is what it is. But to me, if you're working towards a solution and you don't have the discipline, you're being programmed and conditioned, right? Just understand that you're being programmed and conditioned. Now, there are some people that they set out and say, hey, I want to enter into this world of type of entertainment. That's great. That's fine, right? Then you go do what you got to do. But understand this, that to still be successful, in the end of the day, it's a business, okay? I understand that. That's why I'm not mad at it. It's a business. It's a market, all right? But ladies and gentlemen, if it's not part of your market, like it's not part of Dr. No Days Off market. So that's why Dr. No Days Off is not a fan, because it's not part of my market. Nothing against the people that's in the market. It's just not part of my market. See, this is that dominating thought. So this is what I'm saying. Somebody can't come to me and say, or somebody can't go and say, well, Dr. No Days Off said he can't stand Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. He can't stand Love and Hip Hop New York. And then the cast of the show come to me and say, well, you know what? He just jealous. And no, baby, sweetheart, no. I'm not jealous, right? It's not that. Is that, and then what they say to me, would not affect me and would not get me to start liking the show or anything like that, because I control the dominating thoughts of my mind. Not them. Nobody does but me, right? What you say about me doesn't really matter, is what I say to me. I love what Mr. Dr. No Days Off said, and that's a great song by Mary J. Blige, and I have it in my playlist. Good Morning Gorgeous. She's talking to women, but I'm talking to, but she's also talking to those men too, that you need to wake up and say, good morning, good morning, handsome, beautiful, whatever it is, to yourself first, right? Because if you don't, that means you're not expressing self-love. You're not expressing that self-leadership, right? You're not expressing, self-gratification, self-inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to give it to yourself first. See, that's how you control the dominating thoughts in your mind. Some people can come in here and say, well, Dr. Nodays, you're ugly. I don't care. That's your opinion, right? My wife don't think so, and if she does, she ain't told me. But evidently, she it's all good with me. But it's what I think about me that's more important, right? And that's before you put on the makeup, like Mrs. Dr. Indio said. Before you put on the hair and the nails, guys, before you throw on that suit, that expensive watch, right? Those expensive earrings, right? I don't even have mine in today, right? But before you throw on all that nice stuff, you got to say that to yourself. You got to be standing high with yourself, right? So you got to understand something. In your mind, you got to have it to where you are always in search of creative solutions to what I would call a problem or a situation. Most time it's just situations. And those of you that heard my previous podcast know what I mean by situations and problems, right? You got to think and you got to understand. Small minds think about things. Great minds think about ideas, right? Great minds always have ideas, right? Small minds only think about things, right? And it's amazing because when people get money, I was having this conversation a couple weeks ago, and I told a young man, I said, listen, if you don't know what to do with your money, I said, listen, you need to have a plan for your money before you earn your money. He wants to, he plays, he's in college football, he wants to go NFL and all this stuff. I said, okay, great, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I said, finish, he's in school and everything like that. Great head on his shoulders and all that good stuff. I said, listen, understand something, young man. You need to have a plan. I said, how much money do you want your first contract to be? He's like, well, I don't know. I ain't think about it. I said, why not? I said, isn't your goal to be in the NFL? He's like, yeah. I said, well, if your goal is to be in the NFL, then you understand that comes with a contract, right? He's like, yeah. I said, great. So why don't you know how much money you want your first contract to be if your goal is to be in the NFL? So you gotta have detailed plans. And then I said, understand this, because if you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else does, and you're not going to like the plan that they have for your money. I promise you, it doesn't work out for you. It works out for them, but not for you. And he said, no, I never thought about it like that. I said, think about it. Young man, if your goal, your dream, your passion is to be in the NFL, then understand it comes with a contract. That contract means money. And then I said, if you've never had that kind of money before, then you need to discipline your mind and train yourself to deal with that kind of money. So what is your plan for that money? What's your plan? Have a plan, because the plan that somebody else has, they got a plan for you. Oh, trust me, they got a plan. And you're not going to like it because you're not included in that plan, right? So, like I said, small minds think about things, but great minds think about ideas, okay? You want to dominate your mind, you should be you should have a very idealistic mindset, right? Always have ideas, and like I said, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. It matters what you think. It matters what you say to yourself. If you go through my life, if you go through the life of the dynamic duo, Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Nodays Off, or Dr. and Mrs. Dr. Nodays Off, you will say to us, well, y'all have failed miserably in your lives so many times. And we will look at you in your eyes and we won't get mad. See, I just get mad when people say that to me, because my mentality is I never failed. I just found a new way not to do things, right? Because failure is only failure when you recognize it as such. See, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand, you got to dominate those thoughts. There are nice people out here that will say the meanest things to you and they won't even think it's mean. There are nice people out here that will say that would be the most negative to you, and they won't even realize they're negative, because they've been programmed and conditioned for so long that they think they got themselves fooled, right? And like Mrs. Dr. Nodays Off said, it's because they hold a certain title, or because they are a manager or boss at their job. But remove that title. Is anybody listening to you? Is anybody coming to you? Is anybody following behind you? No, right? Because you're not even following you. It was so amazing. You know, for a couple months, I ran across this individual, and he come across like a nice guy, and I'm pretty sure he is a nice guy, but he has so many flaws in his integrity. I noticed that right off the bat. His integrity is very flawed, and it's so amazing how a lot of people knows his integrity is flawed. He even knows his integrity is flawed, but the issue was because I wouldn't accept it like everybody else did. I was the problem to him, right? And that's okay. That's okay because like I say, negative and positive cannot operate the same space and time. So I was positive. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, you can't operate the same space and time. But what's amazing, and like I explained to him, this right here, this space right here, is not important to me, right? It's important to you, but it's not important to me. So guess what? I'm gonna remove myself from this space and time because this is not important to me. Now, if you were in my space and time, then you would have to go. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? See, you got to understand something. Sometimes when you have that dominating thought and that dominating PMA, sometimes you got to understand. You got to realize what is important. See, that wasn't important to me. What's important to me is my space and time, which he has no part of, right? Yes, Mr. Dr. No Days Off.
Hold on. Where's it? I'm doing too much. Sorry about that. Dr. Neo, that is so powerful. We don't realize how powerful having a dominant mindset is. Those of you that have children, having a dominant mindset sets them up for success when they get out into this world and they get to see the good, the great, the bad, the ugly, and the just dang. And that's not the word I want to use, but because the world is a crazy place. By having a dominant mindset, you stand in your truth and you don't ask forgiveness for it. You're very comfortable in your skin because you know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you don't apologize for it. In the world is so quick to try to conform you and corral everybody and try to make everybody the same and believe the same and think the same and put you in a box, because you were born in the ghetto. So because you didn't have a dad or a mom or whatever your circumstances were, you can never get over here into this area. But when you have a dominant mindset and you have faith, you understand that you were created in your maker's image. Therefore, there is nothing man can take from you that if you put the hard work in, you're not going to get back twofold, tenfold. So when you have that dominant mindset, it helps you understand when you come around unlike-minded people that try to tear you down and belittle you and disrespect you. You understand that, you know what? Thank you, Lord. This is my challenge, because I said I wanted to be great. I said I wanted to have a level of influence. I said I wanted to empower people. I said I wanted to lead people. So I know this person that I'm coming across with, this is a test. Test to see if I lose my cool. Test to see if my crown tips. Test to see, if I compromise my integrity. I compromise my character, because I really want to get this position, or this is something that I worked hard for, but I can get it a different way. So I'm a firm believer we come in contact with people for all types of reasons. Sometimes it's for us, sometimes it's for them, and sometimes it's for both. I like coming around being in an environment with people that aren't conducive, because all that does is motivate me to be a better me. If it's a professional setting and I see a manager not doing the right thing, saying the right thing, and representing that leadership the way I know they should, it motivates me. It motivates me to do better, to do more, to be more. So those employees can see that, that's just them. There are still good people in this world that care. My favorite quote is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I stand by that. I don't care. You could have 12 doctrines. To me, that don't mean nothing if you don't care about the people that you're leading. If you're not using that to empower other people, to give, to teach people, to develop people, to be that spark of hope in somebody's life that needs it. What good is education if you're not using it for that reason? What good is a position if you don't take it serious? You just walk around and you just bark orders at people, and you talk down to people, you belittle to people. What is the purpose? Because like I tell people, it doesn't matter what your faith is. I tell you what, when we pass away, I'm a Christian. Your side of heaven is not any better than mine because you're better educated or you have more money or more status than mine. So why get an ego or become vanity about it? So that's what having a dominant mindset does. It allows you to stand in your truth. My husband and I have been homeless 3 times fighting for our dreams and goals. There were times where we would act like we stayed at a hotel, just so we can eat breakfast. Sometimes we would go to the gym and, work out just so we can take a shower, put our business suits on and go do a seminar or be a mentor, teach boys and girls at the Boys and Girls Club. Some people say, well, I wouldn't have done it. And you know what? That's why you're exactly where you're at. See, anybody can be phenomenal and great when you're on top, when you got money coming in, when you have everything that you want. It takes a hell of a person when you're rock bottom, when you under the ground, and you still give. That's true characteristics. That's true leadership. That's true passion in what you do. I always tell people, if you're very passionate about what you do, you can tell, because if you're doing it at your job, you work that job, like you don't need it. Because you're passionate about it. If you're passionate about helping other people, the best thing you can do is every day make sure that you plan, do, and review your day. So tomorrow you can have a better version of yourself than you were yesterday.
Absolutely. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me just wrap this up. All right. And we had a great conversation about dominating your mind. What does that look like? If we have somebody else that has a question for me, then please definitely ask to come up on stage, and I'll answer your question. So let's summarize what we talked about. First, dominating your mind. What does it look like? What does it actually mean? And we talked about a lot of different areas here. And I would say that one of the first things that was mentioned is you have to be authentic. You have to be authentic with yourself first. You have to be honest, integrity, completely honest. And one of the ways to do that is go to a mirror. And whether you by yourself, you got a family, do this on this has nothing to do with anybody but you. So find your bathroom, lock yourself in there. When you're ready, right? To be honest, need some peace and quiet. Look yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror, right? Look into your eyes. Don't just look at yourself. Look into your eyes. That person that's looking back at you, that person knows everything about you. Every thought, every little secret, every lie you told, every truth you told, everything you've ever done. That person knows it all. And what you have to start doing is stop lying to that person that's looking back at you in your eyes, right? When you stop lying to that person, right, you're going to see a lot of that. There's going to be some major changes in your mindset, in your mentality. Then you have to start dominating the thoughts of your mind. Now, it's going to seem like it's a lot of work in the beginning, but just keep working at it. But it's called self-development, personal development, right? Start reading books that make sense. Start watching things that's going to help you lead you to your goals. Because you need to program your mind. You need to reprogram your mind. You know how you update the software on the computer? You have to update, your mental attitude. You have to gain a PMA, right? And you do that by getting a DCA, a definite chief aim. The PMA is your positive mental attitude. You have to update that thing. You're not going to have the same, if you have the same mentality that you had for the last 10 years, then you're outdated. Okay? If we're going to update the software on our phones, update the software on our computers, update the software on everything like your mind, the human brain is still the most untapped technological inspiration in this world, right? And you have to update it. You have to keep the software updated. That's how you dominate your mind. That's what that looks like. How do you update it? Because if I kept the same software that I had when I was growing up because of my environment, I wouldn't be Dr. No Days Off today. Definitely wouldn't be married today, right? I wouldn't be married to my wife for 29 years. Wouldn't have done it because my software was not compatible to hers, right? Not compatible to my future. And then I had to update my software. I'm still updating my software. I was updating my software today, right? I was updating the software on my Apple Watch. I was updating the software on my phone. And I'm also updating the software in my mind because I understand that I have to stay in constant domination of my mind. I have to stay in constant control of my thoughts. I can get upset. That's okay. We vent. I vent, right? But at the same time, that's exactly what it is. I'm just getting it off my chest. Then Dr. No Days Off goes back to knowing and doing what he knows and do best, right? I don't dwell on it. I don't let that beat me down. I don't let that beat me up because it was not it was not important. What's important? So what? Somebody says something about you on social media. So what? Do they know you? Well, they're one of my followers. And people don't follow you, right? They're following the idea of you. They don't know you because you're not even following you. So if you're not following you, how the heck is somebody else going to follow you, right? Understand that you have to be your biggest fan first. Once you're your biggest fan, then you'll understand the domination of your thoughts, you understand the domination of your mind, you understand the domination of your passion, and the domination of your life. Mrs. Dr. No Days Off, you have any last words?
Nope, Dr. Indio, go ahead and close them out.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank y'all for joining, our show. We appreciate you. Dr. No Days Off is back in full effect. I was gone for a while, had a couple projects to complete. That's just the life of Dr. No Days Off, right? You can always find us on social media platforms as Dr. No Days Off. You can find us at Mrs. Dr. No Days Off on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Mrs. Dr. No Days Off might be on TikTok, but Dr. No Days Off is not on TikTok. But you can find us on my YouTube channel too, and you can find a video version of this on the YouTube channel. Definitely, you can. Those of you listening to us through the Wisdom app, go ahead and click on our profile and follow us now. We would come back. You see all the different topics that we have. I have many more. My knowledge database, my catalog is so thick, right? It is so full that we can do this for days. And that's why I was letting Dr. Robert know. I said, well, it's time for Dr. No Days Off to write a book. Y'all not just going to get a book. It's going to be something way bigger. Dr. No Days Off, he has wild plans. Not wild plans. He has gigantic plans, right? And nothing against anybody writing a book, of course. That is a great accomplishment, right? But I have gigantic plans, and my plans are just a little bit different, which is, if you know Dr. No Days Off, that's him, right? And he doesn't do anything small. So, but with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for actually tuning into our podcast today. We'll be back on station. Good catches. You can always go back and listen in. Follow us, please. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Connect with me on YouTube. Definitely. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. No Days Off coaching is in full effect. Go to our website. Our company is TMT Services International, or TMTSI for short. The website is tmtservicesinternational.com. You can see the different programs that we have. We have programs for organizations. We have programs for individuals. And when you come to a Dr. No Days Off coaching, you will get authentic coaching. You will get it. You will get integrity. You will get the accountability, the responsibility, and the high work ethic that makes Dr. No Days Off. So definitely go to our website. You can reach out to us, and if there's something customized or particular you want to learn or know, you can reach out to us and let us know. And if we're capable, then we definitely will help you out. If we're not capable, then we have a vast network that is capable. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. And I'm Dr. No Days Off, and I am signing off.